warm as it was the other day, but we're all here and inside, so great to see everybody. Got a number of different things to go over, busy agendas, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. And I'd like to call to order the April 25th, 2022 meeting of the Sangamon Mass Transit District to order. Please, Eric, could I have a roll call?
Yes, sir. Brian Brewer.
Here.
Leslie McCarthy.
Here.
Sue Dasko.
Here.
Karen Asada.
Here.
Sammy Douglas.
Here.
Lynn Copley.
Can I make a motion? I make a motion that we
here by phone.
I make a motion that we allow Lynn Copley to attend by phone. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, team.
Trustee Copley. Say here.
Wait, say here.
Here.
Trustee Doss. Okay, thank you, sir.
Jerry told me he will probably be late, so when he comes in, we'll just need to make a note when he joins.
Okay, all right. Thanks very much. In keeping with a little bit of nuances, we've got a couple of public meetings to come before the board today. A couple items that we need as it relates to our budget, things of that nature. So I hope the trustees would have received the memorandum that we had in our board packets, but we're going to have to jump into a couple different public meetings, as I said. So the first one up is to discuss our corporate budget. So I'm going to look for a motion there, please, if I could.
This is Leslie. I make a motion to enter a public hearing to discuss the proposed amended fiscal year 2022 operations and capital budget.
I'll second the hearing.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Should I call, do I need a roll call for this one too as well? I would think so.
No.
No? We can use the previous one? Okay. Very good. All right then, so a public hearing regarding the budget has been called to order. Let's go ahead and we'll jump into some of the dynamics regarding that. Eric, can you address this one for us, please?
Yes, sir. As we presented to the board in March, this is essentially us reshuffling the amounts that we had budgeted for expenses to get lines better trued up to where we believe the year will actually end. That helps us with IDOT reporting. We have to take our numbers from our portal and then convert it to their portal. So that's one of the two reasons. The second reason was we've actually accomplished quite a bit of capital projects this year. Through 6 months, we had about 1.1 million in capital reimbursements from both federal and state sources. We are continuing with our projects, so we want to be able to capture that spending authority in our legally adopted budget. So essentially, the result of the change from the first operation, which was aligning our budget line items, was a net zero, basically taking from Peter to pay Paul. And then we added $2 million, which wasn't budgeted at the beginning of the year to cover capital expenses for the year. The budget as adopted last May was $20,199,033. The budget as proposed to be amended would be $22,199,033. Sorry, you get it. I would happy to take any questions.
Any questions from any of the trustees?
I'd just like a real brief overview on the changes.
Okay. The largest change, I would say, we had to pump up our operator wage line a little bit. We ran into some scheduling and some illnesses that led to some increase in overtime. We were able to take that from some other service lines that we know that we won't be buying materials in. So the process is we actually look at the line where we might be taking money from and seeing how they're doing for the year, and then trending on the line that looks like it might need help. So really for the budget, outside of that capital piece, you're looking at $1,000, $6,000 here, $10,000 there. But that largest piece was to accommodate wages in our operators to operations. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments from the board? Any questions, comments from the general public this evening regarding this matter? No? Okay. Well, if not, I'll look for a motion to go ahead and close out on this topic, hearing no more further comments or questions.
This is Trustee Coakley. I make a motion to approve the FY22 budget as amended.
Second.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. So, public hearing on this topic is now closed, and we need to enter in another public hearing to discuss the application for our state assistance using some federal funds. So we'll have to go into another public meeting, so I'll call for a motion there, please.
This is Leslie. I make a motion to enter into a public hearing to discuss the district's application to apply for state assistance using federal funds.
I'll second. Karen?
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. Eric, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you for some more comments regarding this.
Actually, if I might tap Michelle on this one.
Michelle,
Description
sorry.
of the project.
So the CVP program, which is what Consolidated Vehicle Procurements, is an opportunity for us to apply for paratransit vehicles through the state. And so we applied we are applying for 8 vehicles because 8 of them meet the threshold for the application, which is based on mileage. And so we'll submit the application and hope that we get some new paratransit vans.
So the state actually prescribes our agenda on this. For comprehensive planning, so the public and our board knows, this is part of our annual TIP, our Transportation Improvement Program, that's coordinated through the Unified Work Program that's consolidated by the Springfield-Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission. So I have to close my eyes on that one. And then finally, this does address the elderly and disabled ADA by providing those services to that specific group. And with that, if there's any questions, we'd be happy to answer.
Any follow-up from Michelle or Eric regarding this? Trustees, no? Anything from the general public? Any questions, comments? It seems pretty straightforward, so hearing nothing further, I'll look for a motion to adjourn this meeting as well.
This is Trustee Coakley. I'll make a motion to accept staff's recommendation and approve an authorizing resolution for federal fiscal year 22.
This is just
2022-5339 competitive funding opportunity.
We just need to close the meeting.
just to adjourn the meeting.
I make this is just,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so stupid. I'm sorry. I will break it in.
That will be updated.
second.
Okay,
We know
first-
what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody opposed here? Okay, very good. So the second public meeting is now closed, and we're back into the regular open meeting of April 25th. So thanks very much. A little bit different from our current agenda, but thanks, we got through that. All right, let's jump into our regular agenda that we usually have. And first up is always the approval of the minutes from our regular meeting. That would have been the March 28th meeting. And hopefully everybody had ample time to review those in your board packets, but I'll ask for any questions, comments, corrections to those. And if there isn't any, I'll look for a motion for approval.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of our regular meeting of March 28, 2022.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. We have approval of those meeting minutes. Well, let's go ahead and jump into some director's communication report. And first up, we'll start with the managing director. Steve, do you have general comments today? I know obviously you passed along our report as always, so I appreciate that detailed report. But
Just real quick, I wanted to touch on a couple of things that are in that report. Our RFP for technology for the Transportation Center has been sent to IDOT for concurrence, so hopefully we'll get that word back on that fairly quickly. On the Transportation Center, we're also finalizing our agreement with the Sheriff's Office for security. So that is moving in the process, and we'll hopefully have something for you all to see soon. Curb Your Car will be May the 16th through the 22nd. We approved that at the last meeting. I just wanted to remind everyone that that is coming up. I met with the Springfield-Sangamon Growth Alliance Chair Mike Alio and Director Ryan McCready a couple weeks ago. That was a really productive meeting, and we're going to be working closely with them wherever we can when they're looking to bring jobs to our area. So That was really productive, and they will plan to be here to address you either in June or July. So we should look forward to that. And then finally, I attended the APTA CEO conference earlier this month, and one of the things that was suggested that I think is a good idea here, and I discussed with Rusty, was starting to build a new board member orientation program. This is something that we can take some time to do because we don't expect anybody to leave just yet, but it's something that we'd like to have in place when that happens so we're not scrambling. So I think we can work on that together. I'll look for suggestions from you all too as it goes through the process, but as I put things together, I'll send them out to everyone and we can discuss that as we go. But that's a new initiative that I'll get started soon. So that's all I have.
Okay. Any follow-up for Steve regarding those items? No, it's a great idea, by the way. So, all right, let's move along to the finance administration from our director there. Eric, any comments today?
Just that we had a good meeting with the Finance Committee last week to go over where we were at in the FY23 budgeting process. Other than that, things are too many wheels in the air right now.
Okay. I know there's a lot going on, so we appreciate everybody's efforts. Yes. All right, and operations. Melissa.
We had our participation with the Earth Day Awareness event out at the Tenson Robinson Zoo this past Saturday. We ran a shuttle for them from the transfer center. Tony actually attended that. He said it was great, super busy. We don't have ridership numbers from the shuttle yet. Those buses have to go through the garage and hit the Wi-Fi. But hopefully we'll have some by the end of the week. I'll let everybody know how that went. But Tony said it was great turnout. It was really nice. So it was exciting. Ridership numbers were down in March, percentage-wise trending lower than what they have the last couple of months, which was a little concerning for us. I believe we had some really cold days in March, which could attribute to that, but we're digging a little deeper and looking into where that might be, where we might see some of that in the data. So maybe next month when we report ridership, we'll have some adjustments made if we happen to find something that's not just people not coming out and riding as much because it was cold. You know, that's not always a good reason, but other than that, we're getting ready for the next the summer run bid, so we're in that process now. Ready for it to warm up and stay warm.
Yeah.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Especially on the 16th, right?
Right. It's always a nice week.
That's about it. Pretty quiet.
That's enough, right?
That is.
There's a lot going on. So.
Yeah.
Any follow-up for Melissa? Any questions? Things always, the buses have to go through the Wi-Fi to get a passenger count. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be even better when we get the transfer center done and we have Wi-Fi down there. They'll just be updating every hour. Then it'll be, you know, at this point I gotta wait to make sure Spencer gets them all through the garage. And they all don't make it through there every day.
This is interesting. It's going a long way, so
yeah.
Great job to everyone. All right, let's jump into some reports if we could. First up is the February financial statements and cash disbursements that should have been previously reported and included in packets. I don't know if anybody had any commentary or anything they wanted to add to those, but if there isn't any additional questions or comments, I'll look for a motion there.
I just wanted to note for the board that Steve and Tony have been doing a really good job with the advertising revenue and bringing that back from the pandemic impact. So Houck is our current partner, and we haven't really looked at that because of its overall materiality, but having every penny back we can is helpful, so nice job to them.
Eric, a quick question, help me. The wraps on the buses, that's part of them as well?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought. I've seen a few more of those as of late. That's been good.
We're trying to get a pink one.
Pink one?
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
And remember, we went to Orlando, the home of the pink bus.
Okay. I remember when the frog was running around. I like the frog. All right. Oh, very good. Anything else regarding this? If not, I'll look for a motion for approval.
This is Leslie. I make a motion we approve the February financial statements and cash disbursements.
This is Gwen, I second.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. Let's move along to some of the committee reports, if we could, please. First up is the Finance Committee. Anything from Finance this month?
We did meet and appreciated the encapsulated version of all the moving parts that are going on from Eric.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Wynn.
Yeah, it was a good meeting. More detail for the board to come when we get to that item.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, thank you. How about our Operations Committee?
I don't, Melissa, do you have anything else to add?
No, but I think Steve was wanting to talk about meeting sometime this
Yeah,
month.
we're considering finalizing at least our first draft of the zero emissions plan. And that's something that I wanted to take probably before the Operations Committee and admin. So I'll be reaching out in the next few days to figure out when we can do that. That's a requirement for our newest 5339 grant with the federal government. They're requiring that on all of the new grants. So it doesn't have to say this is what we're exactly going to do in the next 25 years, but it has to give them an idea of what we're looking at.
Okay. Anything else?
Sounds good, the sun's coming, and the warm weather's coming.
Yeah, good.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Operations. And last but not least, Administration. Do we have anything from the committee?
No, we didn't meet.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Planning Commission report. Jason.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your support on Curb Your Car. Last month I wasn't there for that, but I do thank you for your support on that. Back up Tony there, yeah, there was a tremendous amount of people at the awareness fair. It was very popular, so I'd like to see those numbers too on the shuttle bus stops, asking people as they were going by if they had taken the bus in or not. So that work stuff we're doing, we finished up the Unified Planning Work Program, which is the outline of the tasks that we do in order to justify, the federal money that we get. And we're also very happy to have written letters of support for the Consolidated Vehicle Procurement Grant that we just previously spoke about. So that's kind of us in a nutshell.
Okay. Number of good things going on. Any follow-up for Jason? Anybody? Okay. If not, good to have you back. Thanks for the partnership. And last item under reports, we have the Disabled Person Advisory Committee, but I didn't see Pete. I didn't know if there was anything to pass along. No? Okay. All right, very good. We'll jump into some new business if we can. We have a number of items there. So first item up is the FY 2022 Corporate Operating and Capital Budget. And Eric, I will turn that over to you to address, please.
Yes, sir. This is the item that we just had the public hearing for. So we've duly notified the public, had a 30-day posting period, which has passed. We held a public hearing, so all the legal steps that we needed to do to amend the budget have been met. Again, we are doing two things. One is adding capital, obviously, to the budget, which is the easy piece. And then the other is just moving money around within the budget. Obviously, as we're preparing today for what we're going to be ending the year, 18 months from now, things become clearer as the year goes through it. So essentially, the sum of all changes is that $2 million capital addition that we're adding. And that money is only earned if spent. So we have to have it there. We use our local funds to make capital acquisitions, and we get reimbursed through grants existing for those purposes. I do believe we need a roll call on an amendment, an ordinance, though. So unless there's any other questions, I sort of talk this one out, I think.
Any follow-up? I know a lot of work's been put into this, so appreciate all the staff's hard work. But any additional comments or questions? I know, Karen, you had a couple of questions earlier. I appreciate the clarification, but I think it's pretty straightforward. Trying to get it going, so I guess I'll make a motion and get a roll call. So I'll look for a motion here.
This is Leslie. I make a motion to approve the FY 22 budget as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. Could I have a roll call, please, Eric?
Yes, sir. Trustee Dawes. Trustee Copley.
Here.
Trustee Douglas.
Here.
Trustee Asara.
Yes.
Trustee Dasco.
Yes.
Trustee McCarthy.
Yes.
And Trustee Burr.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Appreciate all the effort that went into that, very important. Next item up is our 5339 Bus and Bus Facilities Award. There's an authorizing resolution there, so I'll ask Michelle to address that.
So we have another opportunity to apply for competitive federal funding through the 5339 program. And this is a unique opportunity. We're going to actually do 2 applications in one process because we have the opportunity to apply for both low and no emissions as well as bus and bus facilities. We're going to apply, though, for the same thing in both applications. We're going to replace 8 diesel buses with 4 diesel hybrid buses and 4 CNG buses. So we're actually will be expanding our CNG fleet by 4, as well as establishing our diesel hybrid fleet. We're hoping to order 4 buses before that with current ARP funding that we've applied for. So we'll, at some point we'll have 8 diesel hybrid buses. This part of the low-no emission application, there's a few extra requirements that, like Steve had mentioned, we have to have a zero emissions fleet transition plan. And we also have to apply for 5% of our funding to go towards workforce development. So I'm still working on my application, but one of the things that we can identify in that workforce development is, like an example would be training, whether that takes basic training, remedial training, recertification training, or even taking current staff and making them zero emission certified training. So we can use that as part of our workforce development. This application, it's a federal competitive one, so there is a local match requirement. And this time we're going to actually use TDCs, which are Transportation Development Credits, as our local match. And so TDCs are kind of confusing. They're not actual money, they're credits. So this allows us to apply for 100% of federal funding. So that's in your packet, the approval letter from IDOT on that. And luckily, FTA is kind enough to work with us. So we applied for this grant opportunity in the fall, and we were not awarded the funding. So tomorrow, I actually have a 30-minute debriefing phone call with FTA to discuss my previous application and how I can improve it. So that's exciting. So I'll be able to use what I learned tomorrow to make this one even better. So we're hoping to get the money. So that's the application. Any questions?
I was curious on the lead time on the buses.
A long time. So I think,
That's the hard part, right?
Yeah, in a normal time, a normal market, it's 18 to 24 months, and we're seeing abnormal things right now. So it's just a long process.
Okay.
We're having a difficult time even getting quotes from the manufacturers, so we'll see how long it takes. Hopefully not too terribly long.
Yeah.
Quotes only last for a day, too, once you get them, probably. Anyway, yeah, no, it's tough. Anything else? A lot of great stuff, actually. I mean, that's very exciting, so I appreciate all your hard work. I know that's a lot of new and exciting things there, but if there's no further questions or comments, I'll look for a motion.
I move to accept the staff's recommendation to approve an authorizing resolution for federal fiscal year FFY 2022-5339 competitive funding opportunity.
Second.
Okay, we have the first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Aye.
Okay, very good. Keep us posted. Good luck on the phone call.
Yes, thank you.
All right, great job, Michelle. All right, next item up is, I guess, some renewal rates for our health insurance coverage for FY23. Eric, I don't know, we have a couple guests with us today. I don't know if you'll make some comments and an introduction, or?
Sure, we have tonight Joe Lucky. He's our partner with us on all things health insurance and employee benefit related. Hi, Jerry. He's been before you guys before, but it's a tough market. I will say that. I will say that Joe works hard on our behalf every year, and we certainly appreciate that. Josh and I have looked to Josh and Michelle of Troxel a lot for their guidance I knew this year was coming. He's done a great job over the last few years to keep it steady as far as when increases come and when they don't. But I think this is a true up year. So you want to discuss some of the challenges in the market maybe?
Sure. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
Good evening, Chairman Brewer and trustees. Eric, thanks for the introduction. So the last 2 years have been great. We've been able to negotiate down to a 5% increase, so that's been wonderful. Below trend. We're coming off the pandemic, and all claims are up with all groups. It's not tied to SMTD, it's everywhere, right? Doesn't matter. So you guys are July 1st renewals, so I began working on the renewal early as I always have in the past, giving me time to negotiate on your behalf. Received the numbers at the end of February, and Health Alliance is asking for a 17.5% increase. Your medical loss ratio was running at 111%. So I will say, obviously we Troxel represent everyone. Health Alliance is the most fair when it comes when you're having a bad loss year, okay? So they're not going to 30, 40, 50% increases. So while I think the 17.5 was justified, they were paying out $1.11 for every dollar they took in. I still went back for rate relief, right, to battle for you guys and your people. At that point, the loss to Health Alliance was running at $177,000 through February. Obviously, when I asked for rate relief, they wanted to see the numbers through the end of March. And unfortunately, the loss jumped up to $325,519. So your medical loss ratio rose from 111 to 120%. So as you can imagine, Health Alliance was not interested in giving rate relief. As I always am, and promised you guys years ago, we're proactive. We already went to market. And I locked in the 17.5, so they can't raise us, so they're probably not happy about that. So ultimately, that's where we're going to end up this year, okay? Obviously, the pandemic, you guys have 9 large claimants active. What are large claimants? Individuals incurring $50,000 or more in claims individually. We have from 51,000 up to active at 92.3. What are our claims looking at? A lot of claims on here list depression. This is normal coming out of the pandemic. I think being proactive, working with Director and Eric and Josh, we're in the process of getting ready to implement an EAP, Employee Assistance Program, partnering with Memorial Health. I believe that's going to give the employees another resource, somebody to talk to and maybe take some of those claims away from here. So that's a good move. But in addition to that, we have kidney failure, we have some cancer. Obviously, I've told you for years, your high-cost prescriptions, Victoza, Jardiance, Ozempic, we have a lot of them here, and there are no generic equivalents, right? So unfortunately, we can't get around that, but we will continue to educate your employees on taking generics when generics are available. The utilization there is high. They're doing a good job. Like Eric said, and you guys know long before I took over the account, going 5% and 5% doesn't last forever, right? But going to market, what did the market give us? So we do have Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Everybody knows that's a problem in our area now with the clinic, right? So that continues to be a problem for all groups. I have not heard back from Blue Cross. I will eventually. Cigna, which maybe they've been in the paper a little bit, maybe with the school district, we've been working with them. Cigna came to Troxel about a year and a half ago and said, we want to write a lot of business in your area, and they do write a lot for us, I-80 and North. And they said, what do we need? And we said, it's real simple, rates. Give us competitive rates and we can sell your product. So they're trying to be competitive. On SMTD, they called me back and said, we have to decline, we're not competitive. Why are they not competitive on your group? You have an HMO for maybe your more, not part-time, but your newer employees, and a lot of them are on an HMO where Health Alliance HMO is very strong here. So we can give a higher deductible plan at a more attractive premium. Cigna does not have that HMO network downstate so they're not going to be able to give us a quote. United Healthcare did come in, and we did get their quote, and it is higher than the renewal of 17.5. Aetna, I'm still pending. They've not been real competitive downstate, so I'm not holding out a lot of hope on that one. And Medical Associates, that's the HSHS plan. It's fairly new to our market. Mary Pat Klein, who's actually my mom, who retired from us, HSHS reached out to her as soon as she retired and said, will you help us build a plan? So the challenge with that in our area is you lose Memorial and all Memorial providers. Probably not going to fly, but just if the numbers are all attractive. Of course, my mom, she wears me out daily. How are your numbers? And she said, I'm going to have numbers to you tomorrow. So I expect we'll get numbers soon. My guess is they're probably going to be attractive numbers, but it's probably not going to be a great fit, right, with losing Memorial and Memorial providers. But I will certainly keep the board up to date on that. So at the end of the day, I think, while we've been able to be heroes in the past, this is probably the first year, and a lot of these are ongoing claims, okay? That's scary for planning the future, right? We always look for long-term solutions. We're with the best carrier, though, when we're not performing that great. I'm glad I requested the renewal early, and I do that because it gives us time and we're not rushed. But if I would have waited 1 month later, they'd have been looking at quoting at 120% rather than 111, right? And I don't know what that would have done to the numbers. Would not have been attractive. So that's real high level. Certainly, I'm open to any questions you all may have of me. Karen?
I have a question about the rise in depression rates. Can you give me some numbers? Like how many more employees?
I don't know the number of employees. We saw this of your top 9, what we call large claimants. Karen, I can see there 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of your top 9. That's a driving factor. It doesn't drill down, you know, when you have smaller claims, but depression, anxiety really went up with the pandemic. And we all know this, right? Mm-hmm. And it went very, very high. Like I said, partnering with Memorial Health on our EAP, I think that's going to be a good thing. Obviously, I'm going to have to come in and educate people on that great tool. But my hope is that will drive down claims a little bit on the medical, give them another resource. The good news is they're seeking out treatment, right? That's the positive, right?
Yes. Where are they getting treatment?
Tied to their medical right now.
If they can get it.
Yes. Pardon me?
If they can get it.
Yes.
They have to go through like their primary care.
They have to go through their primary care and then it can take months.
And that's a hard thing to do
It's
sometimes.
a problem.
To your question, Karen, practically speaking, I would say that Josh and I have seen a noticeable uptick in people coming to our office and talking to us openly about
I'm sure
this.
that's true, and that's why I'm...
And the product that we've been able to partner with Joe and the hospital with, actually, what it'll do is offer our employees and their dependents six calls that they can address any number of 6 areas, anything from work-life balance, financial stress, just general stress, depression, anxiety or medical anxiety. And then based on their first few sessions, because they're going to get scheduled, and then actually have supports, and make sure that they finish their sessions, we're paying for those sessions. So we're actually taking that out of the experience in the health plan. And they're actually getting better support in the EAP because if they're just left to their health plan, there's really little coordinated support unless they advocate for themselves, which is hard to do in that state.
Thank you.
Did I say we offered independence?
You did.
Any other questions? I know there's a lot to unpack, but
Our highest claims were in what area?
So there you're kind of all over. Number one, depression, tendonitis, and shoulder injury. Depression, ovarian cyst, sleep apnea, anxiety. Number two, kidney failure, sleep apnea, ADHD, bipolar 3. 4, eye medical, anxiety, GI complications. 5, shoulder injury, arthritis, depression, sleep apnea. 6, breast cancer, lung collapse, cysts in the kidney, rheumatoid arthritis, emphysema, diabetes.
Do we have incentives for, or do we offer any programs for like health, being a part of the YMCA or something like that, just to encourage movement activity? That would be a Steve question, perhaps.
Actually, that is part of our offering through Health Alliance, that we do have counselors available that folks
I'm
want
not talking counselors. I'm talking about actually, we give like, we call it, what did we?
So I think
we pay for their membership.
Yes.
Offer anything like that?
They do.
Okay, we do?
At least one of our plans, you get a card, a reloadable card for your gym membership.
It gives $20 a month, Jerry, to the person can swipe if they run through the Holly app at their membership to help.
Yeah.
But I think you were asking more SMTD maybe than Health Alliance, I think.
That is what I'm talking
So your question, no. So you're saying, do we, SMTD, or do you reward your employees who actually go and
That's
they
the
meet
question.
these levels? They do not. And the challenge to that has always been, with all groups, who always ask me, Joe, how do we incent? Okay, Joe Ledke's not a smoker, so we're going to incent him, but Joe Ledke's in the bar every night. So differentiate where Joe's blood pressure is good, but Joe smokes. So you're trying to be politically correct and not, that's where the challenge is with doing the incentives, okay? So that's where it usually stops. It's a great thing, and I think everybody wants to do it, but determining which ones can we reward and which ones do we punish has always been a challenge for most groups.
Jerry, internally at times we've periodically done fitness days or wellness days, but nothing regular, I don't think. It always comes up, you know, at times, but not anything regular, to answer your question.
Okay.
We are actually paying for the EAP, so this is our first foray into how do we help somebody holistically at an individual level. And we won't get specific, like individual, but we'll get data back from the hospital to help us.
I'm glad we're looking at that because I know activity can be an excellent therapy.
Yeah, and we know we have a sedentary segment of our workforce.
Exactly.
They sit for 10
Again,
hours a day.
my dad was a bus driver.
Yeah.
Other family members too.
So the three things Josh and I have been trying to focus on with employees is 1, their health, 2, their financial literacy,
Yeah.
and 3, their overall well-being in the organization.
Good deal. Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. I know that you mentioned also the diabetic, the pharmaceutical, it's just the prices there. The prices are astronomical. For about everybody, I know that the program, you know, they're constantly,
Yes.
there's no help for it.
Sandra, it's not, pharmaceuticals have been and continue to be the #1 driving healthcare costs. And I was on with a customer down the road earlier today, and she said, so will there ever be a generic for whatever it is? And I said, once that company makes so much money they can't count it anymore, then they release it, right?
Right.
And she went on to say, well, you know, I talked to somebody in politics and said at some point, you know, that may go away and the government will step in and control costs. And I said, they're paying these lobbyists. This is not going away, right? So it's going to be a continual problem. Trying to figure that out and navigate that, it's horrible.
It is.
And so we partner with the employees, you know, and sometimes you can go direct to the vendor and maybe do a little bit better, but we're always there in a resource to help them through that because it's terribly, really terrible. Go ahead.
Is our experience a lot higher than other groups that you
provide for, or?
Yeah, I think everyone's trending here and up since the pandemic. 120 is pretty high. But I have a lot of them over 100 this year. And that was expected, right? During the pandemic, people were not going in or didn't even want to go to the doctor's office or couldn't go to the doctor's office. So we knew,
maintenance.
right. So we knew this was going to happen, right? But we knew it, but now you actually see the numbers, and then it's no fun. But this was not unexpected. And, you know, people who weren't going in for preventative, where it would have been caught a year ago, or maybe that tumor or whatever's been growing for 18 months, it's more expensive treatment, okay? So this is not unexpected. And my belief is, I think even into next year, we're going to have an issue again with everybody. Once everybody gets back on the annual visits and we get back on doing things, hopefully we're back to somewhat sort of normal, then we'll get back to our normal flow. But my guess is we'll probably be in this similar boat next year.
That's 5% range, right?
Jerry, I hope it's a pass. I hope it's a pass. I don't like delivering bad news. Doesn't make my job fun. But like I said, at 120% loss ratio, a 17% increase, 17.5 really is not bad, to be honest.
You pay for your usage, but the way I look at it is the last 3 years, we're still in single digits as
Without
average.
that.
So, I mean,
That's
from my
incredible.
experience and what I've seen out there with other employers, we're doing good.
You are, Chairman, and I tell my groups, you know, on a trend, look at least 10% a year. You know, hopefully we have good years and we can get below that. That medical costs, we know, are going up every year. Pharmaceuticals going up every year. We've done very well, 27% over 3 years. Pretty dang good. Very, very good.
So my math was right, wasn't it?
It's pretty solid.
Oh, gosh, it's an interesting topic, and we could debate it a little bit longer. Obviously, it's very important, just based on the commentary here, but we appreciate everything we're doing to try and keep things low. I would be curious on the pharmaceutical company that's tired of counting all their profits. I don't know any of those.
They're not.
It's not going to happen, Sandra.
And it won't happen.
Exactly. Yeah, so, anyway, good stuff. We appreciate all your hard work on our behalf and partnership. Is there anything else? Okay, if not, I'll look for a motion here. And obviously, the motion is going to be to go with Health Alliance, because based on what we have pending at this point in time, Joe, it's probably the fit, right? So
absolutely.
That would be the other piece to it, is if we change plans, we're essentially pulling the providers out from our workforce 2 months before.
So
We don't want to do that. ever.
No.
Never.
So based on all of that, and obviously we appreciate the effort, but that's obviously what we need to accomplish for our employees and the staff. So anyway, I'll look for a motion.
I make a motion to accept staff recognition and accept Health Alliance rate renewal proposal for plan year 2022 and 2022 through 2023.
Second.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? Okay, very good. We have a motion to move forward with Health Alliance. And thanks very much, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, next item up under our new business is a FY23 vehicle procurement application. Michelle, can you address that one as well, please?
Yes, so, basically like I said during the meeting, it's a state application, we're applying for 8 fair transit lanes. I'll keep it short.
I like those, following up after the healthcare.
Yeah.
It's hard to compete. Okay. Any follow-up or questions here? If not, I'll look for a motion.
This is Leslie. I make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing application for a capital assistance grant for 8 paratransit vehicles.
This is Wynn, I second.
Okay, we have a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? Very good. We have approval. We'll move forward there. Next item up is the Echoline maintenance renewal. Eric, are you going to address that for us?
Yes, sir. This is a subscription-based IT agreement that we have with Echoline. It's our maintenance, essentially contract that we have with them, so that our paratransit scheduling system whenever they have updates or training or any patch that needs to happen to the system. This covers that on a year-to-year basis. The prior contract was entered into in 2017. We executed 2 options, and I sent out a note about 2 months ago asking for this renewal. The staff likes Echoline, from what I understand. We invested just over $100,000 for the software, and this is sort of the, I don't know, bad side of IT investments is you get chained to a subscription forever. But we're increasing. We had been at $12,000 a year. We're going up to $14,620 with an additional $5,267.50 for modifications that we made in support of those to operate in our environment. So that's a total of $19,887.50 per year. As Echoline is in place, staff is seeking sole source authorization for this maintenance renewal.
Okay. Any follow-up here on this item? Okay. If not, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize the sole source procurement of 5 years of maintenance service from Echoline as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second, and based on the dollar amount, can I have a roll call, please, on this one, Art?
Yes, sir. Okay, McCarthy.
Yes.
Daska.
Yes?
Sarah.
Yes.
Douglas.
Yes.
Copley.
Here.
Dawes.
Yes.
And Brewer.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. We have approval to move forward with them. Next item up is our transportation improvement plan. Who's going to address that, Steve?
Eric.
I think we all can.
Okay.
This is our draft. Okay, back up a minute, Eric. We participate with the Regional Planning Commission under a unified work program, which is essentially, we get together with all the other transportation stakeholders in the area, in the region, and we create a program of services or program of projects for a year. We update that program projects annually on a 4-year basis. So what you're looking at is the proposed program of projects for fiscal years 23 through 26. Lots of stuff going on there, everything from bus purchases to self-storage garage to getting up and ready at the transfer center. So really, if there's any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them, or if anybody else wants to add commentary on the utility. But this is basically our capital plan for the next 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Quite lengthy, I might add. A lot going on.
I do want to, in her first year of doing it, Michelle's done a really nice job on getting the details in our plan that helps us when we come to grant writing. Having these numbers available and making sure our planning process is future focused enough to where grant awards wanting to see that unified approach and wanting to see that item in a consolidated, reviewed, adopted plan is important.
Okay.
We try to revise the 5-year plan regularly, and we're due for another update for that so that they dovetail and everything fits together nice and clearly. So we don't just have this tip out there as a document. It actually is living inside of our 5-year plan. So it's something that is meaningful and does direct what we're doing.
Okay. Michelle, you want to add anything?
No, I think it's I think it's a good plan, and like you said earlier, there's lots on there, and it's good. There's good days ahead for SMTD. So.
Job security.
Yes, I have. I remember that. Good job, security.
Do you have anything, Jason, on that?
No, we're really happy with the amount, like I said, of detail and, you know, as quickly as you come up with this and everything like that. It's Neha and Shannon work on the tip every year, and it makes, you know, getting us started really good.
Yeah, and they're fantastic to work with.
Yeah, no, and it's very important because it drives our activities. I mean, obviously we have to have a roadmap to where we're going, so. Any other questions, comments here? Very well done, by the way. If there's any further discussion, I'll look for a motion here.
I'll make a motion to approve the draft SMTD Transportation Improvement Plan and submit it to the Springfield-Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed? Very good, lots to do, so thank you very much for that. And the last item under new business is our, we have to place our proposed FY23 corporate operating and capital budget on file for a number of activities earlier today, so I guess I'll turn it over to Eric if there's any last minute comments you want to.
This is an administrative process. We have noticed to the public that the board, the proposed 23 budget will be on file, which means if you come in the building, we'll have a copy at the front desk. I believe Tony talked earlier about potentially putting up online, and you know, we respond to any citizen request to review. What I gave you guys, or what we've given you, is extremely detailed. I don't expect anybody to look at that, so I did come up with a picture. 2 pictures. All those spreadsheets are basically, that's what these say. So for revenue and expenses, as per law, we want to present a balanced budget, meaning resources available meet resources expended. As it stands now, there's no reason to think it won't. We're a balanced budget proposed. What I'm showing you is fiscal years 21 and 22. 21 is the audited actual, and 22 is where we're trending to end the year. And then I give an expense breakdown. Obviously, payroll is our largest expense. And then going from left to right, it's FY 21, 22, and 23. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of historical perspective on where expenses are and where they're going. Benefits. The other thing I wanted to remind the board is that we tend to be conservative on revenue and a little less conservative on our expenses. So that's the period we're in now. We're going to go through our expenses and make sure that what we're budgeting, which is really a combination of 2 things. What's been approved for spending or on an annual basis, like we just approved with Echoline. We know we have to have that covered in next year's budget. And then the second part of our budget is what we plan on doing different in the year. So again, there's still a little bit of play going on in our budget. We did get our health insurance numbers in there. I explained how that impacted our health insurance budget. And the last piece we're waiting for from Gallagher is our commercial reinsurance piece. So once we get that, we'll finalize our proposed, and we'll have a big, larger discussion when we actually ask you guys to adopt it next month.
Okay.
That's okay. And I'll have more pictures.
I love the pictures. I do.
Well done, sir. Well done. Okay. Well, a lot of heavy lifting went into that, so unless there's any additional comments, I'll just call for a motion.
I make a motion to place the proposed fiscal year 2023 budget on file for public inspection.
This is when I second, and those were all the moving balls I was referring to.
Okay. We have a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. We have approval to get that placed. Just for the record, we had 2 additional items on the agenda. We had the zero emissions and then a bus purchase. I just want to make sure those have been tabled, and we'll get to those next time. But if you saw those on the agenda, that's the case. Is there any additional business to come before the board? Anything else? Any comments from the general public? Anything else?
Anything online, Tyler? No.
No, nothing? Okay. Well, I just call for a little sunshine if you can't see it peeking through the window. So with that, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, motion's adjourned. Thanks very much, everybody, and please pass along our appreciation to all the members of the SMTD team. Lots of great stuff going on. We appreciate it.